2, 1. All right. Chivalry 2. We need to talk. Now, I don't know if you can hear my friend here. If you can't, I don't give a fuck. This channel's kind of just here to be here. I'm here with my friend Bloody Sabbath 69, or as I will refer to him as throughout the entire video, Jack. And we are going to be talking about how this game is buns and how it's ass and that I hate it and that's terrible. It's the worst game that I ever played. And as we're having an intellectual conversation about how buns this game is, it will also be playing in the background. So kind of think of it like a Joe Rogan podcast, but with like a Subway Surfers clip playing on the side. That's basically the whole niche. Okay, so Jack, I'm going to start off pretty simple here. When did you get into Chivalry 2? Yeah, I can feel that. Like, I don't know, when I first bought this game, I want to say back in 2021, I originally bought it because my friend gave me a PlayStation gift card code, and I was able to buy it with the money. And that was at the time where I didn't know how to play the game, so I ended up just quitting for about, I want to say 4 years, until I ended up re-downloading it in the, I want to say April of 2025. So the big thing I want to talk about here is the gameplay, really. Because I think the servers, I think when a lot of people complain about games, they'll complain about the servers or the graphics or stuff. I don't think that's bad. Like, I think this game looks great in a full honest review. I think some of it does look kind of bad. Like, there are some maps that aren't good. But I think, like, an all-around basis, the game looks pretty good. The only thing I really have to complain about, really, are actually a couple things. Not the visuals, but the, two things. The matchmaking and the damn, let me turn this audio off so I can really lock in. The two things I find the most annoying about this game are the matchmaking and just all, like, the little, glitches here and there. Because I know that, in certain games and stuff, you may get, like, a headshot or something. Like, take, like, a game, like a free-to-play game like Valorant. You may get, like, a headshot, but it may not just register, right? Well, the same thing happens in Chivalry 2. And this is one of the main talking points I want to refer to in this video. It's something I want to refer to as Larry length. And it'll be shown probably in the video later as we're talking. Larry length is a term that I made up, and the pun is that we have a friend named Larry, and I imagine his penis size is very small, and basically how it goes down, Larry length, it's when you are so close to hitting the target that it should basically register, but it physically won't. So that's why I refer to it as Larry length. And it started out as me saying, oh, I'm millimeters away from hitting him, to the joke being his penis is so small that, like, that's how far away I am from hitting that person. Now, I don't know if you've had any trouble with Larry length, but if you could, like, let me know. Like, how has that experience been for you, Jack? Yeah, I could fully agree with that too. Yeah. Yeah, but I could fully agree on those points too. It won't even be Larry length. I completely agree with that, as if you are quite literally hitting them. Not even like close to hitting them. You are quite literally hitting them, but it just won't register. Like, I understand that a lot too. Yeah. So that's really one of the big talking points of this discussion here is really the Larry length. And as the gameplay will be in the background and we'll be having our intellectual conversation, I'm sure a couple instances of Larry length will come in. Now, I want to make something abundantly clear throughout this video, and you'll notice it through the gameplay, because I want to let it be known this isn't someone else's gameplay. This is all me, manufactured by me. So I want to let it be known before really deep diving into this. I don't claim to be good at this game. If anything, I know that I'm not good at this game. Like, I'd say that I'm probably mediocre on some levels, and I'm not on other levels. But there's a big difference between a skill issue, which I know that there are many of, and quite literally just not game breaking, but game bugging glitches that just don't work at all. So I want to ask you, Jack, have you had any other troubles besides, like, say, like Larry length, or possibly like your weapon hit just not registering? Like, is there anything else like on the top of your mind that can like do that sort of topic? Yeah, I can completely get that too. Because that's also a big thing that I've noticed with the throwing mechanics in this game, that it'd be like very close even, and it just won't work. Now, like I said before, you can call these skill issues, which this is what I like to call like on the line of skill issues. You know what I mean? Like, it could in fact be a skill issue, it could not. But that's what I mean on the fine line, because it's really in that whole like thing of, it's kind of hard to tell some situations, but others it's very obvious to tell, you know what I mean? But one thing that isn't a skill issue, and that is like very prominent that I've seen in the game, are like just game breaking glitches in general that I've noticed. Now, one of the most popular ones, and the ones that happen the most, is the crossplay glitch. Now, if you're not aware of this, it's basically when you're in a crossplay lobby, and after you have completed a match, it just say you won't in. So 9 times out of 10, when you're playing with someone on crossplay, you're gonna have to restart your game after a match because it just won't register you in. Now, that's more of like a tedious thing than it is like a really game-breaking glitch, in my opinion. But another really bad glitch, this one doesn't happen near as often, but it's still really bad and prominent, is the black screen glitch. Now, I've only seen this happen in 3v3 arenas before, and basically, I don't know how it works, because with the ones like the crossplay one, it's like when you complete a match when you're in a crossplay lobby, it will, just say you're not in matchmaking. So that one is known. The other one I've noticed, and this is not a TV problem because I'm still able to access and use the PlayStation, this is only with Chivalry 2, is not even after, when I'm loading into matches, my screen will go completely black. The audio is still there. And it's not my TV again, because I'm able to click the PlayStation Home button. I'm able to like still hear my note. Like, everything is prominent besides Chivalry 2. Now, this one is really bad, because it's just like not good at all. It's just really fucks everything up, in my opinion. It's just really not that good. But I can give props because it rarely does ever happen. So it's not all that bad, to be completely honest with you. Like the black screen glitch barely ever happens. Like, it's a rare occurrence at the least. So that's really the big one I want to talk about, is the crossplay one. And I get it. I'm not saying this like the people who have made it, what are they called again? Torn Banner Studios. This isn't a call out to them. This is just a call out to their video game Chivalry 2. Now, the glitches are really bad. Like, they don't happen all that much, but when they happen hard. Like the whole Larry Link thing, like that's whatever. Again, you could blame it on skill issue, you can blame it on this, you could blame it on that. But for something like the crossplay glitch to just be almost certain, Terry, like if you complete a match with your crossplay friends, it is almost certain that is going to bug out and you will have to restart your entire game. Like that is almost prominent. Like it's 100% at this point. Now, that's really what I've noticed. And again, I'm not claiming to be a good player. Like, I'm claiming to be not good at Chivalry 2. But again, I feel like these things wouldn't happen more or less not of a skill issue, but of a game issue. Now, Jack, do you have any opinions on this topic that you'd like want to throw in as your own? I don't know if you've ever experienced a black screen glitch. That seems to have only happened to me here and there. I'm sure it's happened to others, but it's not as heard of. But like, I'm sure you know of the crossplay glitch and stuff like that, correct? Yeah, I can honestly feel that too. And I feel like another thing I want to talk about, I want to let this be known real quick. I'm still deciding if this is a good or bad thing. A lot of people in the gaming community, they say this is a bad thing. Like, or no, they actually say it's a good thing. But in my personal opinion, for a game like Chivalry 2, it could really go both ways. Now, I'm not sure if you guys have played Chivalry 2. I mean, I'm sure if you click on this video, all two of you, you guys have, something to know Chivalry 2 because it has, like, been in your certain interest. Now, one thing I want to talk about, and I'm sure you guys know this if you played, there is no skill-based matchmaking. So you can see right now on the screen, this is like one of the only times I want to like talk about my current gameplay in real time. As you can currently see, I'm a level 42. My teammate is a level 33, and my other one is a level 54. We are going up against level 494s and a 361. Now, again, in my personal opinion, I'm kind of tied both ways because I'm not so sure if it's a bad thing or a good thing, to be completely honest. The whole, non skill based matchmaking. Because, one, it does certainly humble you, which can be a good thing, Because if you're cocky in this game, oh my god, unless you're the best, that shit's not lasting you long. Now, that's the thing. You can be someone who's not cocky, just trying to enjoy their time, and you get placed in and this is, this can happen an infinite amount of times because there's no skill-based matchmaking of the fact that you could load into lobbies as like level 16 going up against level 600s. But I get it, not a lot of people play this game, so they need people to get into the servers with each other. But a bad thing I want to talk about, a really bad thing about Chivalry 2, isn't the game. Gameplay's a part of it. Isn't the gameplay? Isn't the maps? Isn't the glitches? The worst thing, in my opinion, of Chivalry 2 is the fan base. In my opinion, this fan base is one of the worst I have ever seen in my entire life. And that's saying something. Because you have fan bases like Dead by Daylight and For Honor. You have all these different fan bases that are bad. But I have not seen worse fan bases since Chivalry 2. Now I get it. I'm a little bit of a hypocrite. So my main point is what I refer to as ganking. And ganking refers to, and this is, I want to let this be known. If you do this in Invasion, and if you don't know what Invasion is, Invasion are basically like these big, big maps with gigantic objectives, and it's basically like two wars fighting. I want to let this be known. If you do ganking in Invasion, that is totally understandable and reasonable. I mean, think about it. what would knights in real life do? Knights in real life would totally, like, do what they can to get the objective done, which would be ganking in some scenarios. And ganking refers to, like, as double teaming, triple teaming, basically all just getting on one person. Now, I want to let it be known, if you do this in Invasion, that's completely understandable and reasonable. You want to do the objective, that's fine. And again, I'm being hypocritical, because as you can see in the gameplay right now, I have done a little bit of ganking. But I'm about to get to that point in a minute. Ganking, and it's only not understandable in one scenario, and that scenario is 3v3s. Now, you may be saying, like, oh, Roy, looking at the gameplay that is yours in real time, you were just trying to gank one of the enemies. Well, the thing is about that, which I'm trying to get to, ganking on low levels. You see my level 42. If I were to get ganked by 3 level 600s, that wouldn't make all that much sense, you know what I mean? But in my personal opinion, again, I admit this is hypocritical, and the fact me trying to make an excuse out of it shows how hypocritical I'm being, is ganking high levels. Whether you're ganking high levels, ganking low levels, in my opinion, ganking in a mode such as 3-3 is awful and terrible, and anyone who does it should realize their mistakes. Now, Jack, I know you've probably had your fair share of ganking experiences before, but would you mind telling us a little bit about your personal experiences with the topic? Ah, yeah. Yeah, it's bad. Oof, yeah. Yeah, that's another thing I want to, like, that I feel like is tied in through the fan base aspect of the game, is, again, that's a thing with the fan base, is usually something that I've noticed. They tend to get toxic even when it's not their kill. And I can completely understand what you're saying, because I've experienced this numerous amount of times, where someone will teabag you after, their friend comes and saved the day, even though you were beating their ass the entire time, but they act as if they did all the hard work, which is just anything but true. So I can completely understand what you're saying with that, because I have experienced that numerous amount of times, and it is annoying and it is awful. So yeah, that's like one of the big things I've known is like the fan base. And another thing I've really noticed about said fan base, they seem to be, I hold this lightly because I don't want anything bad said. Something I've noticed about the fan base, they seem to be extremely like bipolar. Because one, you don't know if you're gonna go against someone who understands the fact of, whatever this, whatever that. And it's like, I'm not saying you got to be respectful or nothing. Like, I'm not preaching here. But, they understand, like, oh, it's just a game. It's not life. It's, just be like, whatever, is what it is at the end of the day. But some of these players are complete opposites of that and treat the game as if it is their life. So they will go on these whole things. Well, they will treat the game as if it is something just crucial to them. Like, if they don't win, they will lose their fucking mind. So they will do anything. I mean anything just to ensure the fact that they win. That's what I mean. And even if you do beat their ass, they'll make all these, regards and comments of saying, like, oh, lucky this, lucky that. But, you could say that with any fan base, but I notice it to be extremely, extremely prominent in the Chivalry fan base. Now, I don't know if you've had your encounters with toxic people, but I've noticed this is like one of the most toxic games. So I want to know, like, what have your encounters been like regarding like the toxicity with this game? Hmm. Yeah, yeah, I can fully agree with that statement. Especially the people that like what's the word? What I've noticed is that like, and I'm not saying this is like with high levels. Actually, like most high levels I've noticed seem to be very humble in their regards of like, it's just a game. Like most high levels I have met are like extremely humble and like that it's just a game. But some people I don't know how to word it. It seems like the fact that they like win a game or they're like better seems to like corrupt their mind into thinking that they're like the god of the new world when really they're just like the god of like not fucking showering and just playing a medieval game all day, you know? It really like gets to their fucking head and it power trips the shit out of them cuz this is a hard multiplayer PvP game. So when they discover that, that they're prominently good at it, they think that they're the best in the fucking nation. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's what I really noticed. This game, another thing about it, it is an extreme emotional roller coaster because there are games where you're doing very good and then the next game it is horrible. Now, in my opinion, right, you got, and when it comes to the skill issue fan base, one of the most prominent games I see the skill issue comment come from are prominently the Souls games. Now, I want to make something very clear. This game is extremely different from the Souls games. In my opinion, what makes skill issues in the Souls games, like, it is what it is, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, 99% of Souls content is PvE. But when it comes to a game like fucking, Chivalry 2, the bosses in the Souls games are set to be at a certain difficulty. They're not going to get harder. You're not going to expect something new. They're coded in to have these certain attributes, and that's just how they play out because they're complete AI. But in my opinion, saying skill issue is like a lot more, different when it comes to like Chivalry. Because, 1 second, it's not as much as a skill issue as much as it is like a matchmaking player issue. Because you could be going against like a level like 500 when you're like level 12. And sure, you could refer to it as a skill issue, but really it's a matchmaking issue. Because I want to make something abundantly clear. How in the ever living shit am I a level like 42 supposed to beat like a level 500 and that seems to be a fair fight? They have multiple more hours on me. How in the ever living hell am I supposed to beat them on a fair one-on-one without either ganking or pulling some shitty trick? I don't understand it. So that's why I don't really get the skill issue comment when it comes to this game. Because again, you can refer to it as whatever you want, but I mostly refer to it as a matchmaking issue. Because you're being paired up against people who are way stronger. But again, me doing all this, bitching and ranting, I suppose it could be a skill issue. Who knows? That's what this whole video is about. Ranting on how bad Chivalry 2 is, but how I will continue to play it. So yeah, what's your opinion on that? Because you can have like whatever you do, but in my opinion, I still do believe in skill issues when it comes to this game, but I feel like it's, skill issues and it is like, matchmaking issues.
Well, in my opinion, I feel like having no skill-based matchmaking is really a good thing for Chivalry because it heightens the skill gap. Like Chivalry, it's fun to have a fair fight, but I feel like in Chivalry you want to you want your fights to be mixed up. You don't want to fight somebody who's an equal skill level all the time. Sometimes you want a challenge or you just want an easier job. But the thing is, it's like I feel like skill-based matchmaking in an early game it would be better. Like if you're just starting the game, skill-based matchmaking would be really good. But later in the game, when you have more experience, having no skill-based matchmaking really helps because it diversifies your experience and you're not going to win all the time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I know that I'm talking about like skill-based matchmaking here and there, but that's also what I'm referring to. You'll notice that like I'm very two-sided when it comes to this. So I can completely understand that regard too of like, like I said earlier, it kind of like, you know, puts your ego down and you really realize what type of game that you're playing. But it can also like just completely ruin the mood, Like it's a complete like, you know, split fracture. Like it's either one or the other, no middle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hmm. All right. Well, I noticed I've been doing a lot of the talking, so I just wanted to ask, like, is there anything like you want to primarily talk about too? Because this is like kind of a duo, kind of talk about how like this game is and how like it can be. So I want to know, like, is there anything you want to primarily talk about?
Nothing really. The only thing I want to talk about really is that there's not much anti-game. And I see games like For Honor make it to where ganking is decent, but there's more of a way to counter it. And I see ganking and Chivalry, it kind of sets it sets up like having an epic fight. But in games like For Honor, and it's apparent that ganking is overpowered and it's going to give you a mechanic to fight against it. Chivalry, they don't have any mechanic against it. You're either going to gank or get fucked. There's no in between. But I feel like that makes Chivalry both better and worse because it heightens the skill gap and diversifies the experience. But it's not good for the term of low levels. You see, high levels, you understand it's just a game, and oh, well, this is going to happen, or I could aura farm off this. They don't really care that much. But low levels aren't going to have fun because they don't know how to counter ganks, and that's going to stop newer players from coming. And it's a thing that happens very apparently with a lot of old games. Take like games like Battlefront 2. It's currently it's an older game. It doesn't get much updates anymore, and it's infected with high levels, and it's random you'll see a low level. And it's because there's people who have been playing the game for so long that without the skill-based matchmaking, a lot of the time they're just gonna lose.
Hmm. Yeah, I can understand that too. That was another thing I want to talk about. I love and hate the fact that there's no like, defense against ganking in this game. I like it because the Chivalry 2 is a realistic adaptation of like medieval warfare. So it does make sense that, there wouldn't be like some magical power boost that you'll just like instantly become like this demon of nature and you can just like do all this crazy shit. Like that makes sense. That's realistic. Like say if you're getting jumped in real life, you're not gonna become some fucking like Super Saiyan. Like no, you're gonna get beat the shit out of and probably killed. So that's the one thing I like about it. But I also don't like about it because, like you said earlier, there's just nothing to do about it. So the idea of it is cool, and it is pretty cool because it's realistic. But that's the thing. People always want to say, oh, we want realistic shit in games. But when it gets that realistic to that level, they're like, I don't know. That's kind of what I'm like think about, That idea of like you know, it is realistic. It does make sense in the scenario, but still, it's like, man, it's like, it's a fucking annoying, man. It's not good. So yeah, I think when it comes to this game, really, it's like, you know, I think it's pretty good. And I know after everything I've said, that may not make a lot of sense, but I think it's pretty good in the regards of a lot of things. One thing I love about this game is the graphics. Look at these graphics. This shit is beautiful. The shining armor, the waving flags, just everything. I think this game looks beautiful. And this is not even just this map. There are so many maps that are great. And the objectives are perfect in everything. That's the thing. I don't hate the game because of its looks or this. I actually love the looks of this game. That's why I can't fully say I hate the game, because that would be a lie, because I love a lot of aspects of it. The only thing I really hate about Chivalry 2 and that I want to talk about is the matchmaking, the glitches, and the player base. That's it. I think in everything else can be regarded down to either a skill issue or that's it. Because I do agree there is a fine line of skill needed to play this game, but I think that this game is still beautiful. I love it. And when I mean I love it, I mean I don't love all the shit I hate, because that just this video would be useless. What I mean by that, let me be more specific. The thing that I love is the maps, the objectives. Like, some are better than others, some are worse than others, but I think most of this game is just beautiful, and I just love it when it comes to that regard. But, when it comes to the regard of the matchmaking and the players, that's something I feel like, needs to be fixed. And if they don't want to fix it, then fine. I understand that. They're Torn Studios. They are the people that made this game. They are able to decide what they can and cannot do with their own video game. So if they decide to do whatever, then fine. But I feel like if whether they didn't change, say if they don't change the matchmaking, say if they don't change the layer, say if they don't change any of this shit, I would still enjoy the game, but just not as much, without the things. Because, someone who's played it that much, I've grown used to these glitches, it's just in my heart at this point, and now I just seem to enjoy the gameplay that I do enjoy, and I just love the maps and all that shit. So that's just my regard, and yeah, thank you for listening to me and my friend here rant about the game. Again, I want to make it abundantly clear. I think the game looks beautiful. Torn Banner Studios definitely did put in their work from Chivalry 1, to Chivalry 2 to really just emphasize how beautiful the game can look. They really did put their work into this just to make it look as beautiful and as realistic as a medieval game as they could. So, high appreciation to Torn Banner Studios. I think the armor's great. I think the maps are great. I think a lot of this game is special and great. So, shout out to Torn Banner Studios for doing all these beautiful things. But, at the end of the day, this is a rant video. I ranted about what I ranted about. Am I still going to play this game? Yes. Am I going to enjoy it all the time? Hell no. Am I going to enjoy it most of the time? Probably. Give Chivalry 2 a try. If I had to make a comparison, it would be like Rust or Rainbow Six Siege, to where when you win, it feels great. When you don't, it fucking sucks. So thank you for joining me and my friend here, Jack, on the talk of Chivalry 2, needing to talk. Is there any ending message you want to get off after the end of this, Jack? Okay. Well, thank you for joining in. I will see you guys in 8 months.